Spanish bitch from uptown, I bought a bus down. Yeah, oh, then I keep Dame Troja to my Spanish loca. In the kitchen, whipping that dope up, you can smell the odor. Plug on pitching, we gon' hit it like we Sammy Sosa. Put that Bentley to the limit, you can smell the odor. Oh, Spanish bitches call me chulo when I'm pulling up in that two-door. Diamonds different color, Uno. All these hundreds on me, mommy made my pockets look like sumo. I got money out the ass, I finger pop you in your culo. When I hit you with that, you know. Smoke a little hookah, kick it like it's judo. Let you hit the OG, since I'm 42 though. And when we get in mode, I'ma dog it like I'm Cujo. Whoa! Heard they tryna steal away, cut it out, cut it out. Spicy mommy's on the way, bust it down, bust it down. Saw my watch, she let away, I flood it out. Hey, talk to me nice, show you what deep in it bout. Whoa, pipe down, throwing up shots. First we shut them down, then we open up shop. Realest nigga around, just in case y'all forgot. They been tryna stop the wave, but the wave don't stop.
Uptown, nigga, I was down, but they see I'm up now, nigga. Head high, cause I'm holding up my crown, nigga. Never told, even through the ups and downs, nigga. And if I do say, it's a couple brown, nigga. Only way I double crosses. I just keep spinning, only way to make them nauseous. Demon little mommy like salsa, we could dip. I'm just tryna see you dance, salsa on the dick. Whoa, it went down, she came up, you know. Y'all take shots, y'all aim up, you know. Hate on low, but we fly high, you know. Talk is cheap, free Wi-Fi, whoa.
Heard they tryna steal away, cut it out, cut it out. Spicy mommy's on the way, bust it down, bust it down. Saw my watch, she let away, I flood it out. Hey, talk to me nice, show you what deep in it bout. Whoa, pipe down, throwing up shots. First we shut them down, then we open up shop. Realest nigga around, just in case y'all forgot. They been tryna stop the way, but the way don't
Hasta en el
stop.
volante, y al lado está el cantante que tiene guerra con los narcotraficantes. Y hueputa, tengo 4 rutas y los vendo a 32 como Carmelo en el Utah. Tini, Oche y Versace, voy a morirme millonario, los Illuminati. La glopa y las putas en el bote y las nalgas como Jennifer López. Brrr. Y ella rebota ese culote y yo le mamo ese totito pa' que no me bote. Yo tengo 10 dracotes y tenemos 13 R y mis soldados pa' todos estos bichotes.
Heard they tryna steal away, cut it out, cut it out. Spicy mommy's on the way, bust it down, bust it down. Saw my watch, she let away, I flood it out. Hey, talk to me nice, show you what deep in it bout. Whoa, pipe down, throwing up shots. First we shut them down, then we open up shop. Realest nigga around, just in case y'all forgot. They been tryna stop the wave, but the wave don't stop. Whoa.
Talking away, oh, I don't know what I'm to say, I'll say it anyway. Today is another day to find you shying away. I'll be coming for your love, okay, and take on me. Take me on. I'll be gone in a day or two. So needless to say, I'm odds and ends, but that's me, I'm stumbling away. Slowly learning that life is okay, and say after me, it's no better to be safe than sorry, and take on me. Take me on. I'll be gone in a day or two. and all things that you say. Is it life or just to play my worries away? You're all the things I've got to remember. You're shying away. I'll be coming for you anyway. Take on me. Take me on. I'll be gone in a day or two. I'll be gone in a day or two. In a day or two.
Well, good day, ladies and gents. My two songs of choice today were mostly how I felt in Game 7. Meek Mill's Uptown Vibes, coming in there thinking that we're gonna be unbelievable, unstoppable, that we had an incredible Game 6, which I actually happened to be there, actually. Which I'm just flabbergasted right now of just how we just went from Game 6 to Game 7, and it's just depressing me. And Take on Me, literally just Kawhi just shutting us down. So, let's begin, shall we? Where to begin? Game 7. Sixers-Raptors. It's one of the biggest games of this year. It was on TNT, and it was just big. It was just huge. It was a huge game. And the Sixers did not show up, in my opinion, in the first half. In the first half, we started off, in the first quarter, by the way, with 13 points, and shot a miserable 22% in the field. You can't do that in Game 7. Now, I understand that the Raptors are one of the best defensive teams in the playoffs, so there is that. But Game 7, no one, and I mean no one, should be shooting horrific as the Philadelphia Sixers shot in Game 7. Not only that, we were out-rebounded the entire game by 10 rebounds. And we have Joel Embiid, who is considered one of the best centers in this league. And it's just incredibly frightening to me. We've also allowed Kawhi Leonard to shoot unbelievable at the end of this game. If my things will work today. If I go to the box score of how many shots to the box score of Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard shot 39 shots in Game 7 and made 16 of them for 41 points. Now, I'm not going to blame this on Ben Simmons, but this is an entire problem with the team. We should not be allowing Kawhi Leonard to shoot 39 shots in a playoff game, especially Game 7, and especially for him, because at the end, that literally bit us in the dust. And it shows, too, of like how Kawhi Leonard was just a big impact in this series, and Game 7 is the greatest example of that. Kawhi Leonard had scored 41 points, and despite him scoring 41 points, his team did not show up to play, yet made a lasting impact for it. Kyle Lowry, I was going to say Kawhi for a second again, who played 39 minutes and had 10 points and shot a miserable 30% from the field. Danny Green only shot 2 points. Can't do that. Marc Gasol, he had 11 rebounds, but he only had 7 points. Pascal Siakam, he scored 11 points and 11 rebounds. He had a decent game, but he had a decent game. Serge Ibaka went off against us, so that is another key reason of what was going on with this team. And honestly, we were just getting beat. We got beat that fourth quarter, and it shows. The last 3 possessions that the Philadelphia 76ers had in Game 7 ended in shot clock violations. That was before Jimmy Butler got the dunk to tie the game. You can't do that in Game 7. You can't. Game 7 can't be that literally it's a toss-up between your 2 players of who's going to score and who's not going to play well tonight. Game 7, everyone needs to show up. But that is the overview of Game 7. Now, my faults, I've been keeping quiet because literally I haven't been talking too much about the series because literally I don't want to talk about it and jinx it. I think I've talked about it in my last episode how we beat the Nets and how we can beat the Raptors. I was coming into the series, I knew that this team was going to be hard, but I knew that if this team could put themselves together, they can beat the Raptors. If we can stop Kawhi Leonard, and if we can limit his shots and play some good defense, and Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons show up and play their game, we can win the series, I said. The first 2 games showed that it was going to be a tight series. Game 1, the Raptors took it. It was a fighting affair. Game 2, we were on tight against each other, just going on at it, and we just barely got through that game. And in Game 3, we exploded. Joel Embiid, for some reason now, was not sick or hurt that night, and just went off with 33 points, had a windmill dunk, and just fucking destroyed that entire crowd in Philadelphia. Fucking went berserk over it. And I was watching the game at home, and literally I felt that same feeling that was in the Wells Fargo Center. Just incredible dunk and just incredible performance by Joel Embiid. But after that, literally, it was just Embiid. It's just that after that, Embiid just fell off. Simmons didn't even show up the next couple games. You can't do that to win basketball games. It's just insane of what happened in Game 3 or 4. I mean 4 or 5, not 3 and 4. 4 and 5 just showed the Sixers just falling apart right in front of everybody. And I couldn't even believe it. We were up 2-1, and yet our team played like we never played a playoff game in years. And we got blown out. And we were supposed to take it to them at home. And we just got fucking destroyed. Just miserable performance. Miserable. I bought tickets for Game 6, and I went to see that. And it was just a phenomenal game. Just Joel Embiid actually playing a decent game, and it showed that he was a big factor on that court. And Ben Simmons being aggressive. Jimmy Butler playing a good game. But at the end, Jimmy Butler is not the problem that we have. The Sixers just completely, as a series, went up and then went down. And in Game 7, literally, our fate was sealed with Kawhi Leonard with that shot. And I couldn't even believe my eyes when I saw that. I stood there and just my mouth was just open the entire time. Because I was appalled that not only did we choke this game because we had 3 shot clock violations. But Kawhi Leonard daggered us with that unbelievable shot. The robot himself. So where do we go from there? Where do we go from there? Well, where we can go is that this is the process. We trusted the process for a reason. We wanted to do well. We wanted to do was to go to the NBA Finals. But this team didn't have it. Tobias Harris is a good player, but in the Raptors series, I thought he was not even on the team for a minute. That's how much his impact was in this Raptors series. Abysmal. I saw more of Mike Scott on that court more than Tobias Harris. Players like Boban, love Boban. He's a great player, but he is abysmal in the playoffs, and it shows that, yes, he's a big man who can play some decent defense and put some shot ups because he's like 7'5", but then after that, what else is Boban? The Raptors showed literally that some of our players on our team are really not even playoff caliber players. Like, Brett knew that. He couldn't put Courtmont out there. He couldn't put Bolden out there. He couldn't put Zaire Smith out there. Even though I feel like he should have gave Zaire Smith a chance out there. Because literally, some of those games with the blowouts, what was going to hurt putting Zaire Smith in for a couple minutes to get some playoff experience? Even though it's a blowout, give him some minutes. He's a rookie, and he just got back from injury, and you played him a couple games in the regular season. Give him a shot. Give him some chance, because literally he could be a key factor in the playoffs if we slowly move him up into the rotation. And it was not just Zaire Smith at all. It's just players that literally we know. It's just mostly half the team that showed literally that they were not ready for the playoffs. Like, as much as I love TJ was not going to play Kyle Lowry or chubby Chris Paul in this sake 40 minutes a night and can limit him for 10 points. Because the thing is that literally Kyle Lowry is not a great player, but the thing is that his influence on the court and his veteran experience that most people don't have in the playoffs literally is going to outplay him, and he's going to show TJ McConnell that literally this is the playoffs, this is not the regular season. Playoffs and the regular season are just two different games. And Brett Brown also needs to do is learn how to adjust better. Embiid can't play 40 to 46 minutes a night in a playoffs and not have a backup center for him. That is unexcusable. Ben Simmons is getting time off the court, but Joel Embiid just looks gassed out there. And people wonder why he's getting sick or his knee's hurting. Well, the guy's playing 40 minutes, 46 minutes a night, 2 or 3 games a week on a bad knee, for Christ's sake, and being sick, and is playing 42 minutes, 46 minutes against a Raptors team who has one of the best defenses in the playoffs. Like, you can't do that. And we can't trust in players like Amir Johnson or Greg Monroe because they're liabilities. They know what Greg Monroe or Amir Johnson is going to do to them. They know that Embiid is a player to reckon with. And it shows with Embiid. And especially in Game 7 for Embiid. Embiid, when on the court, was a plus 10. And he was one of the best players on the court as a plus differential. Even though he did not have the best game, it showed that literally he was there. And his impact was very taken. And I just saw a post, too, about this, that Embiid, if you count the total plus differential in this entire series against the Raptors, was a plus 40. And he missed a total of 1 game if you count all the minutes that he was out. Embiid was out a total of 40 minutes in a series that literally 40 minutes in a series that literally he got literally little to no time to himself for rest. And it shows. And it shows on the point differential why he's impactful. A plus 40 in point differential. That means that his impact on the court is making the Sixers doing well. Like, you can't top that at all. Embiid is literally a great player for that. And there's not much you could say for Embiid to do, other than that he needs to stay healthy. And that he needs to do is work on to limit his fatigue and his minutes in order to keep himself healthy and keep himself into the game more. He played 45 minutes in Game 7. I feel like I've never saw him off the court. And you can't do that to him. A guy with a bad knee cannot play 45 minutes in a playoff game and not have any adjustments. Ben Simmons in this series was a big up and a big down. Big downs in most of the series for Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons was just cold in this series against the Raptors in the first couple games. I want to get to the points that he played against the Raptors. In Game 1, he played decent, 14 points, 9 rebounds and 3 assists, even though they lost that game. But Game 2, he was nowhere to be found. 6 points. 6 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. You can't do that in a playoff game. You can't. You can't score 6 points. You can't score 6 points when you're the second third best player on the court, Ben. Game 3, he stepped it up a bit, but he got 10 points again. Game 4, same thing, 10 points. Game 5, scored 7 points. Like, you can't score less than 15 points a game in the fucking semifinals, for Christ's sake. Game 6, he scored 21. Game 7, he scored 13. And most people get by the average is like 13 points a game. Like 7 assists a game, mostly. And no, not 7 assists. Like 5-6 assists a game and like 7 rebounds a game. But that is not good for Ben Simmons. And this is going to be a brutal awakening. I saw him in Game 7 as he was being aggressive. And it was the first time I saw Ben Simmons being a leader, for Christ's sake. He was on and off the court, just running towards it. You saw it in his eyes, and you saw it in the game. He was determined to win Game 7. He wanted to win this Game 7. He wanted to go out there. He wanted to win. And I cannot be so much proud for Ben Simmons in that game. Because Ben just went on and off the court. And it showed. Even though he scored 13 points, he was like a different player. But it comes back to the last thing that we've been saying for months, we've been saying for a year, and we've been saying this is last year. Ben, you need to learn to shoot. You can't live in this NBA league and not have a shot. Like, lock yourself in a fucking stadium if you have to. You and Embiid. Embiid, work on your fucking diet and work on your shot from the 3-point line. Simmons, work on your mid-range game. Because if you guys want to win a fucking NBA title, this is stuff we have to do. Ben Simmons needs to learn to shoot the ball. He needs to learn how to be a mid-range guy. He does have to shoot 3-pointers. He just needs to do is that when he's in the middle of the court, he pulls up from the mid-range and makes the shot. That's it. Or attempts to make it. That's what Ben Simmons should be doing. Because if Ben Simmons had a shot in this fucking series, it will be a totally different story. Because I feel like that if Ben Simmons had a shot in this series, they will be doubling Ben more and more, and they will give more chances for Embiid to get in there, or more chances for Jimmy Butler to get a shot in the mid-range or the 3-point line, or JJ to get the ball more. Because once Ben Simmons is on that 3-point line, no one is just gonna go tackle him. No one's gonna play defense on him. they're gonna play lax on him. The only time they're gonna go strength on him is that unless he's going up and down the court. I mean, he's going inside the paint. Other than that, they're gonna allow him to stand outside because they know that Ben Simmons is not gonna shoot the ball, and that's the problem. Ben needs to learn to shoot for this reason. Kawhi Leonard, he coming out of college, he did not play good offensively. He was a defensively good player. Then over time, he played good offensively. And it shows Game 7. Kawhi Leonard is an amazing player. I know there's nothing to do with the process, but I want to say is that Kawhi Leonard is an amazing player. And if anything, Ben needs to learn from Kawhi of how to be a player like him. Kawhi is going off in these playoffs, and he's holding his team on his back. And it's unbelievable that the Spurs drafted him before then, and he didn't have a good shot before then. And over time, now he's on the level. People are even comparing him to MJ, for fuck's sakes. Even I don't see him as MJ. I see him as maybe like a mini LeBron, and the same because literally he's just carrying the Raptors right now. But Ben needs to think about more like him. Because Game 7, it was tied 90-90, 4 seconds left on the clock, and he shot that ball. And he made it. He took a chance and literally made it. And I'm still salty about it. I have not watched the video of that since I saw the game winner myself. And it's for good reason, because I feel like that if I see it again, I'm just going to probably break down and cry. Because, that was just a heartbreaking shot. But the process going forward. Embiid and Simmons need to do is work on their game. Embiid needs to learn how to do is fix his health. He needs to learn how to master his stamina and fatigue in these games, especially in the playoffs. He needs to learn that literally that in the playoffs, if Brett Brown's not gonna have a backup center, he needs to play better defense. And he needs to do is learn. He needs to play better defense, and he needs to learn that literally that he has to be on the court 24/7, and that he can't slack off. Simmons needs to learn how to shoot. He needs to learn how to be a better efficient player when it comes to shooting. Because if he can learn to do that, he could be on the level of Kawhi of what he was in Game 7. Now for the Sixers, the process, in my opinion, it's just starting. People and this is the thing that people don't understand about the process is that we started the process with the hopes of getting the NBA title. People thought that literally getting draft picks, signing free agents is the first step. The second step is the hardest part. I don't think the first step is the hardest part, but the second part is the hardest. Developing a team to win that. This team on paper is literally the second, third best team in the playoffs right now. Even though they got eliminated, literally, if they beat the Raptors, they would have had a better shot against any other team, especially the Bucks, the Warriors, or even the Blazers. They were a good team on paper. Ben Simmons, J.J. Redick, Tobias Harris, Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is a phenomenal defensive player. Ben Simmons can play some good defense and also be an incredible point guard. Tobias Harris could be a guy you can give the ball and shoot sometimes and play some decent defense when he needed to be. Jimmy Butler is an excellent scorer. J.J. Redick is a great three-point shooter, and he has the most experience of the entire team. And you have Brett Brown, who was an understudy for Greg Popovich. On paper, this team should have been the second, third best team in the playoffs. Even though we lost. Yet, I still believe that we were the better team. But the process doesn't end here. It begins here. This is heartbreak. Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are young. Ben Simmons is 22 years old. Joel Embiid is 25 years old. They're going to learn over time. LeBron James didn't win his first championship until he was 28. MJ didn't win his championship until like a couple seasons later in the season, until he got Scottie Pippen. These players learn how to be champions, and it's not by a snap overnight or a trade overnight. It's learned by experience, and this is the best experience possible. Ben Simmons is going to learn that he needs to be more than just a point guard. He needs to learn how to be more than that. He needs to be an all-star, a guy that people can rely on every day and night with a shot, defense, whatever. Joel Embiid, he's going to realize that he has to be there for his team, that this is his team, and that Philly wants a guy like him to lead them to a championship. He nicknamed himself the Process for a reason. He knows that there's a lot at stake. Jimmy Butler, I would love to re-sign Jimmy Butler. I hope the Sixers front office give him the max during free agency. But it's up to Jimmy Butler. But honestly, I feel like that Jimmy Butler can have a chance here. And Jimmy will, in my opinion, I think Philly loves Jimmy, and Jimmy can do it. But the process starts here. Not just for Embiid and Simmons too, it's also for the rest of the team. What can Brett Brown do to fix these adjustments that he has in the playoffs? Brett Brown is also learning as a coach too. Remember that he came in to the Sixers in two seasons in, and he had one of the worst records in basketball, for Christ's sake. The first year of coaching, 10-72, for Christ's sake. They were awful that year, but they were tanking for Ben Simmons. Next year later, Ben Simmons was the first pick in the draft. Joel Embiid was getting back from an injury, and he actually played that year. And we were having an incredible January. And Embiid got hurt. And then it just fell down there. And then we knew that literally that what's the point of even going for the playoffs? But these last 2 years have learned literally that Brett Brown is learning just like Embiid and just like Simmons. Last year with the Celtics, we knew we didn't have a chance against them. We knew that. That's why we worked our asses off up and down that court. And it paid off, in my opinion. I feel like that we were just a great team against the Celtics. And this year, we went to nail with the Raptors. And I've never been more proud of the Sixers team in a nutshell. Because honestly, if we won this series, I feel like that we still would have gave a chance against the Bucks. Maybe we could have beat the Bucks. I don't know. Fate would decide that. But we gave our ass. We worked our asses off during this series. And I can never be more proud with the Sixers. And there's nothing much we can say other than that they need to improve. And the goal in this offseason is this. Re-sign Jimmy Butler. Give Tobias Harris maybe another chance. I want to give Tobias Harris the max, but I will give him another shot. I would say give him like a 2-year deal, like maybe 50, not 50. That's too much. Let's say $20 million a year, like a 2-year deal, and he could just prove himself. Re-sign TJ for a cheap deal, even though I feel like TJ's probably gonna be gone. Let Bobbin go, because I love Bobbin, but he's not the backup center we need. We need a better backup center. Let Zaire hit the gym over the summer, make his strength go back to make him 100%. JJ, re-sign JJ somehow with, let's say, with a cheap deal. And then just get some guys in the free agency with depth. Because the thing is that the problem was with this team, especially in the playoffs, is that we didn't have any depth. We couldn't rely on other players other than like our starting five and two guys from the bench that we know that we're good. And also re-sign Mike Scott if possible, because I love this guy, Mike Scott. Other than Jimmy Butler, he was just an excellent addition to this team. But the most important thing about this offseason is not just free agency and just players developing. It's also a draft. we also have to learn is that we have to draft better. Teams like the Spurs have got picks in the late rounds, and they've got dimes in the rough just by picking these players. Players like Danny Green, players like Kawhi Leonard, what they trade up for, who's just projected not to be the best player in the draft, have shown to be great players because of the stock value that the scouts can learn from. We need to find players like Landry Shamet, and I know that trade's gonna probably bite us in the dust because Landry Shamet is a great shooting guard, and he could be a bright future in the LA Clippers, and I hope he does well because he is a good player, and I love that guy. I think that he would be great for the Clippers, but what we need to do is draft good. Drafting is the most important thing a team could do. The Warriors have drafted actually decently well the past couple years. People like Jordan Bell, for Christ's sake. Even though he's not the greatest player on that team, he can do some damage against their big guys. Or like Kevin Looney is a decent role player for the Warriors. And honestly, the Sixers just have to do is look at the team like the Spurs or the Warriors, or like the Raptors have been doing, or the Bucks. The Bucks are a great example with Giannis and how they built this team around Giannis, of him just being shooters and Giannis just doing his thing and being mostly primetime Shaq with sharper elbows. That's what we have to learn. This is going to be a rough couple months, especially for the Sixers, because we got literally daggered by Kawhi Leonard, and it hurts. But at the end, how can we grow if we have to feel a little hurt sometimes? I am proud to be a Sixers fan for a reason, and I'm so proud of the season in a nutshell. For Christ's sake, we start off the season with a totally different lineup than we had in the playoffs. We start off the season with Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz, Robert Covington, Dario Saric, and Joel Embiid. And we also had Landry Shamet on the bench, and Mike Muscala. We had like a totally different team come playoff time. If we can keep this team together, what can we accomplish by just having a year together again? If we can keep everyone together from this team right now, maybe give Jimmy Butler the max, give these players some contracts that are cheap or just efficient enough that we can have some cap for later on, we can do stuff with this. The problem is this year that we didn't give them much time. Literally, we gave the Sixers team, this new team, mostly a month and a half to learn how to work together before come playoff time. Because we got Tobias Harris before the trade deadline. And we got Jimmy Butler before then. And honestly, I'm excited. I'm excited for the future. Kawhi's doing great for these Raptors, but what are the Raptors going to offer Kawhi Leonard in the offseason? If they don't win in the conference finals, what is Kawhi going to do? I mean, if I was Kawhi, I'd be thinking going to the Clippers right now, because the Clippers are the best choice right now in the West Coast, and the best team for him other than the Lakers. And the East, in a nutshell, it's gonna be a fight here and there, but I believe that the Sixers can do well. Giannis is going to be a threat for the next couple years. The Raptors, if they keep Kawhi, they're going to keep rebuilding around him. The Nets are only going to get better, and they can be a threat with the free agency. Kevin Durant is supposedly a favorite to go to the Nets. The Pacers will get Victor Oladipo back, and they could also be getting some guys from the free agency. The Magic, they have Fultz, and they have a promising lineup, even though I believe it's bullcrap with the Magic. But at the end, I still stand by my opinion. The Sixers will be back. They will be back, and they'll be stronger than ever. And that's that. And that's all we can say. Final note, since this is a rant show, I want to do is go on a rant on some people today. Starting with the people that just trade Ben fucking Simmons. Are you out of your mind? Why should we trade Ben Simmons? And I love ESPN because literally these analyses are great. Analyses are just hilarious of how these people talk about, for Christ's sake. I want to go to some of the things that these analysis are trying to say about Ben Simmons, about who we should trade for him, and all that stuff. And I don't believe Ben Simmons is the problem. Oh yeah, CBS Sports. According to CBS Sports, Sixers can explore a trade for Ben Simmons for LeBron James this summer. According to from Tom Haberer of NBC Sports. Tom, what the fuck are you smoking? Why would the Sixers want to trade for LeBron James when Ben Simmons could be him in the next couple years? It's such a dumb idea of a trade. I understand that we're trying to do is change this team around and do well, but trading Ben Simmons isn't one. And he's just one of the great examples of these problems that these people are talking about. With Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid. Trade Joel Embiid. Trade Ben Simmons. Problem is that they're not the two players that are wrong. The problem is that the team needs more depth. And trading these two players is not going to do is fix the problem. You'll get more players, but what cost? Losing an all-star. That's what people do not understand. Is that at the end of the day, they are not going to do is... At the end of the day, they're not going to do is change their entire team and their entire game just by one trade. Trading Ben Simmons or trading Joel Embiid is a fucking horrible idea. That's something the Pelicans would do. That's something like the fucking Hornets would do. Why would you trade your best players for crap? Ben Simmons is not going to get much in the office because people want shooters. But even if they do offer much, they know that Ben Simmons will develop into a shooter. They know Ben Simmons will develop into a better player. He's 22 years old, for fuck's sake. And Joel Embiid, yes, he has his knee problems. Yes, he needs to get healthy. But he's still one of the best fucking centers in the league. I could say he's better than DeMarcus Cousins. I could say he's one of the best. He's one of the best defenders. He's one of the best offensive-minded centers in the league. And he's a very unstoppable force when given the chance. Trading Joel Embiid or trading Ben Simmons isn't a good idea. And people need to learn how to know that. We can't just do is trade, and expect that our problems can be solved by that. Well, I think the problem is literally that we traded too much. I think Jimmy Butler was a good trade, but the Tobias Harris trade is going to bite us in the ass. We gave up Landry Shamet, and Landry Shamet's going to do well. In fact, I feel like in the playoffs, if we had Landry Shamet, he would have been a great substitution for J.J. Redick, because J.J. Redick this playoffs was either hot or fucking cold. And we need to learn that. We need to learn that literally that Joel Embiid, that we have to learn literally that trading these players are not the best ideas possible. You gotta look towards what could be the best for the future. Trading Ben Simmons is the best future for the other team, not us. Unless we're getting the number 1 pick or a top 5 pick, I am not trading Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid. They are what we have, and we have to work with them. They're young. They can develop into something. Joel Embiid, the other night, Game 3, they were talking about him. They were talking about how he could be like the Akeem Olajuwon of this generation, for Christ's sake. And Ben Simmons could be like the next Magic Johnson. Like, everyone needs to understand is that trading somebody doesn't mean it's going to solve your problems. And honestly, that's the truth. At the end of the day, the Sixers are going to improve. The Sixers are going to do well. And honestly, I'd rather do is literally them focus on the free agency and focusing on the draft more than trading people right now. Well, I wish I could talk more about the podcast. However, I think my stream is down, so I can't do the live talks today. I apologize. My fucking Wi-Fi card is not working today. However, this episode is probably gonna be on YouTube. And if you haven't listened to this on the stream, or you couldn't listen to it on the stream in a nutshell, I apologize for what has happened today. And hopefully I will get this resolved and fixed. Thank you for watching the stream, and have a wonderful day.